Stephen King called Night Gallery's The Caterpillar one of the most frightening episodes ever telecast on TV. Legendary horror director Guillermo del Toro concurs.
Perhaps the most memorable one of them all. Caterpillar, I think, is gorgeous. The camera work, and to me, it remains one of the few episodes in the series that really approximates film.
Based on the short story Boomerang by Oscar Cook, The Caterpillar stars Laurence Harvey as a man whose assassination plot involving a deadly earwig-type insect goes horribly wrong. It was a premise to which most viewers could relate.
Because in Mexico they're very common, very, very common. I think in France they call them little scissors. Same in Mexico, we call them little scissors. I remember as a kid, before going to bed, I checked under my pillow, under my bed. I tell you, it's the Jaws of the insect world, because it's the same thing happened to me with Jaws. I used to love the ocean and diving, and I've never been able to dive after Jaws without thinking a shark is going to appear looming in the water. And I think The Caterpillar has the same effect.
The Caterpillar aired on Rod Serling's Night Gallery, March 1st, 1972. Jeannot Szwarc directed several Serling scripts for Night Gallery, including this story. But this episode is the one for which he'll always be remembered.
You know, the parameters were very strong. Content was the key, and to do justice, I mean, The Caterpillar, we had an idea it was special. And you know, the other thing about Night Gallery, which is amazing, is that because of the quality of the material, it attracted casts that were unbelievable. I mean, Laurence Harvey had never done television before, and he said yes, based on the script. It's true that The Caterpillar seems to have survived. Everybody remembers that one. I never made a difference between television and film. To me, it's all film. I have my own style, but a story kind of dictates content, especially for Night Gallery. And it was fantastique, like the French call it. Requires great aesthetics and beauty, but also a sense of atmosphere. And I think that's what I was concentrating on the most all the time, is to find the right atmosphere.
Despite Night Gallery's $190,000 per episode budget, art director Joseph Alves Jr., who later worked with Steven Spielberg on the films Jaws and Close Encounters of the Third Kind, went all out on The Caterpillar, as star Joanna Pettet remembers.
And I remember it was an incredibly wild set inside. It was an enormous stage, and they made it a jungle outside, you know, and it was pouring, teeming with rain. And I remember thinking, God, this is a great set. And when I read the scene, and I knew it was going to be done on stage, I had no idea it was going to be as great looking as this.
Night Gallery writer, creator, and host Rod Serling rarely visited the set, but made a very special effort for this very special episode.
I actually saw Rod Serling on the set one day. I mean, and I'm sure he knew of me because I'd done already some for him, but I was not aware of him. It was the day with the rain, and maybe that's why it was so memorable, the set. The rain in the forest came down the earwig, or the caterpillar. That was the day I met him. He walked onto the set, and we met. Until that point, I'd done Night Galleries, but I'd never met him. Because I remember being flattered that I was asked to be in one that he'd written. Because, you know, he'd been this wonderful voice and face, you know, for so many years to me, too, just like the audience. But I'd never seen him in person, even though I'd worked for his show. It was odd. No, he was a tiny man, and a small package, because he was thin and trim and lean face, you know, narrow face with bones and cracks, and in person it was the same. It was even thinner in person. The face was even more chiseled out in places, you know, hollowed out in places.
In 1972, television was more of a communal experience, and The Caterpillar was the talk of school kids after it aired, ensuring that this Night Gallery story would haunt a generation of TV viewers for decades to come.
Anybody who said, I loved you in such and such, you know, I'd look at them and I'd say, I bet you were like in 6th grade, you were doing your homework, you used to watch Night Gallery. And they'd go, yeah.
If you've enjoyed your journey on the TV Time Machine, please like and subscribe. We look forward to having you again on the TV Time Machine.